Welcome, sports lovers, once again. Today on the show, I've got Melanie Wedgbury, or affectionately known to us all as Mel. Mel is one of my athletes that I've started looking at coaching, and it's a fantastic and inspirational story. And just by way of short introduction, I guess, Mel is a physician's associate. Now, I know that's something to do with the medical field because you always seem to be working hard. Mel, absolutely welcome to the podcast and the show. I'm excited to have you here. It's going to be freaking awesome. I know you're going to be changing jobs soon. So tell us a little bit about who you are, where you are, what you do, and what it is you're going to be doing soon.
Oh, that's a lot of questions there, isn't it? So currently I'm a physician associate. So we are diagnostic practitioners in the NHS. And rather than making it sound a bit too complicated, basically, if you attended the hospital with, say, an abdominal pain, you'd see me first. I'd be making sure your observations are okay. I'd be making sure your blood tests are okay. I'd be checking whether you need any scans and doing examinations. I'd then tee you up from a triage perspective and then speak to the surgeon and say, this is my impression. And we kind of put you through that pathway in the hospital. So I'm highly trained in kind of diagnostics, but I don't have the final say. It's the best way I can say it. I'm always supervised by someone above me to go over, yeah, that's a good job, Mel, or have you thought about this? So, and I work with a big team, so we're kind of an MDT, a multidisciplinary team. So that's probably the easiest way of me explaining what I do.
That makes absolute sense, Mel. And if it makes sense to me, it's going to make sense to pretty much anyone who's listening to this, because I'm just one of those simple midweek folks, right? So now I know, as I say, I know your busy life. It's a crazy life. Anyone in the medical field, especially in the UK now with the state of the NHS, and I say that with love and respect, it's crazy. And I know that just time isn't in your favor, right? And we're going to get to that in a moment with regards to training and all that kind of thing. But also, you've told me that you kind of, I don't know, how long have you been doing this, first question, and I know that you've got quite a significant, drastic change in career. Tell me a little bit about that. What spurred that on? How, why, when?
Yeah, so I started out in the NHS as a healthcare assistant in the emergency department in kind of my mid-20s. My first job was a postwoman. I was a postwoman for years and then decided to change because I really liked the medical field. And then when I was in the HCA, I decided to go back to university and I did a biomed degree and then trained as a physician associate. I've been a trained physician associate for about 5 years. I was a COVID trainee. So I finished my training the first wave of COVID and then came out of that and I was straight in the ICUs with the COVID patients. So that was a really good introduction to how medicine and working it is. Unfortunately, some people might not realise this, but there's been a lot of politics surrounding my role as a physician associate, mainly from doctors in the BMA, and they're protesting against that role being available in the NHS. And unfortunately, about 3 months ago, the government started looking at it, and they've taken away a lot of our powers to conduct the role. Now, if they took away my role, that means in a year, 2 years' time, I could end up on the floor and not actually have a role in the NHS. And bringing up a family, I need security. And I wasn't sure where to go, but I live next to a nuclear power station called Hinkley Point, which is in the southwest of England. So I started looking through things and I found a company which is EDF, and they do graduate entry schemes. Now, Rob, I didn't think I was going to get this scheme. 5,000 people applied. And I graduated 5 years ago. So I've had to kind of really, I felt like I've had to blag to get this role. But they've hired me and I start next week in human factors engineering. So it's a big change, but it kind of looks at the psychology of humans and how they work within the workforce and looking at risk analysis so that things like the nuclear power station doesn't blow up because they've pressed the wrong button. It's the best way that I could think of it. It's far more complex and I'm sure I'm going to learn, but that's where I am at the moment.
Let's hope you're the right person for the job on that one. I have no doubt. You know, Mel.
I hope they don't look at my social media maybe because they'd be like, what?
Well, I'm afraid I'm going to have to disagree with you on that one, hey, because I tell you what, Mel, I've, and for the sake of the people watching, you know, I've only been chatting with you for a couple of months now. It feels like forever, you know. And I think probably now is a good chance to jump in and sort of describe where and how it came about you. So I put out some ads on Facebook, I believe, for my coaching business. And you're one of those people who clicked on the button out of interest and you had a look. And then you got a phone call from me, which most people go, oh, shit, why is he phoning me? I forgot I pushed that button kind of thing, right? But you were quite cool. But your immediate response was kind of, oh, yeah, hey, thanks for coming, and bubbly and welcoming and friendly. But it was like, oh, no, this is not for me, like triathlons for the big hitters, and the people that need coaches are, well, they're I'm just not in that league yet, right? And this is like a misconception, and that's why in the spirit of the name of the show, the Unlikely Triathlete, that's like my passion. I think you've gathered that by now, right? So I shoot for all those people out there like yourself, with respect, who have kind of, I think I can probably do that. Maybe I'll do, and I'll just twiddle away on the side here and see how I go. And everything's too good for you, and it's not your cup of tea. I'm not an athlete. I'm not a swimmer. So you actually don't want that spotlight to be on you. But I can almost see why they would employ you in the first place. And I absolutely mean that from my heart, right? Because you just ooze energy, man. And I'm going to tell the viewers now as well. When I first messaged you back and forth a few times, you were kind of sort of reluctantly, well, hey, have a look at my social media and you'll see how I am. Now, those were your exact words, and I don't mean to put you on the spot with that, right? So immediately, like, alarms went off, and I was like, fuck, this is what I'm after. This is someone who wants to, and they're like on that precipice, but they're like, maybe I need some direction, maybe I need some guidance. I don't know what I need, but I'm enjoying it, and I want to enjoy it more, and I want to be better at it, and I want to make a thing of it. So I went and I looked at your social media. I think it was your Instagram, right? And now, of course, when you've never met someone and someone says that to you, I'm thinking, okay, are we looking at someone who's running on blades? Or are we looking at someone, I don't know. And I went through your social media and I was like, what's wrong with this girl, And because, pardon me again, and I'm just brutally honest, right? So you struggled with weight for a long time, and I think that was your main issue and your main challenge, right? But from what I saw in those videos, man, there was like no doubt in you. And I'm like, look at this girl. She's just like, she's running along and she's giving it horns and she's smiling and the crowds are cheering and she's waving and it's like, check me, I'm the center of attention, woohoo. And I just freaking love that, man, because my sister who lives down in Oz, same kind of story, right? So tell me, before I go and talk too much, because again, I might not give you a chance if I'm not careful. Mel, tell me about your venturing into sport. Like, I mean, at some point, is it something you've always done? What made you decide to get into that, and why are you where you are at the moment?
Okay, so it's something I've never done. And this is a genuine true story. When I was in secondary school, I think I was in year 8, and they put on a sport, especially for people like me, on sports day, and it was chess club. And that's what I was best at in school. There was no sports. I've never been very natural at it. And a few years ago, I got to know a few people that are doing triathlons and Team GB, and went to a few of those events and really just liked the atmosphere and that kind of, and these are high elite athletes. I would call them high elite athletes because, they're representing our country. But it was just really fun to go to, and everyone was warm and welcoming. And I thought, do you know what? I want to see whether I can do that. So I've done a couple of duathlons. And I'm always last, but I don't care. Like, for me, the competition is against myself. It's so, can I run 5K? Now, about 6 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, I had an operation on my ankle because I had really unstable ankle. So 5 years ago, I couldn't run 100 meters because the ligament just wasn't there. So I suffered chronic pain. And some days I wouldn't be able to get off the sofa because my legs just wouldn't work. And when they fixed my ankle, I realised it was just the instability in my body because the pain started going away and I was able to walk further. And then I was like, how do I improve myself? So really the improvement's only come over the last year and a half. Okay. The first 3 stone of my weight, I got off of a GLP-1 medication because I was really overweight. I researched this medication as a biomedical scientist by trade. I thought, I'll try it. And it actually worked for me, but I stopped it when I wanted to go out of obesity into the overweight category, So once I got out of that category, I stopped because I didn't want to become dependent upon the medication because that's the thing you can do. But by taking that bit of weight off, helped my exercise up. So then I was able to kind of use that how it was supposed to be used and increase my nutrition in a better way and run further. So I started the journey, which I would advise to everyone, on the Couch to 5K. Anyone can do a Couch to 5K because it's time based, not distance based. So all you do is you just go a little bit faster in those time periods than you do walking. And that actually, people started to see me do that, and they're doing it. And I find that it's kind of that negative, positive knock-on effect. So then I just start doing more things. Like I did a half marathon this year, and my target was under 3 hours. Never thought I'd get it. But then in my head, I was like, this is just 4 park runs. And the last park run was the hardest, but I did it. And I have this strong sense of the only challenge you've got to do is complete. You can't just try and go faster, slower, and just do that. So that's where I am. I don't know if I've waffled a bit. I tend to waffle.
No, you know what, hey? Mel, you've absolutely hit the nail on the head. And that's exactly, I don't believe I've found the answer yet, but I think I'm going down the right road, right? And so what jumped out at me there immediately, hey, was you were inspired by someone, right? And yes, they were what you call elite athletes or whatever the case may be. But being in and around those people, hey, what I've learned from some of the life coaching practices I'm going through now and some of the stuff, because I'm getting life coaching and I'm getting sport coaching, right? Tiger Woods needs a coach, right? Even, everybody, it means, but it's that catalyst, man. And I believe very much in energy levels. I'm very much a universe, vibration, good energy, bad energy, all that kind of stuff. When you're in amongst people, elite athletes or just weekend warriors, right? There's an energy, man. And you may have not known what it was at the time, but I believe that's what it is. So you get in that energy, and that energy just raises your vibration, man. And you just become and something, you don't know what it is, but something saying, I've got to do some of this shit, man. Oh, I've got this little tingle, little goosebumps, hair stand. I've got to go and do this shit, right? Now, what I'm trying to put my finger on is how do we get people to recognize that? Because you're one of those in the 1 to 100 that I think maybe 10 or 15 get it. And the catalyst hits you in the right spot and you take that next step. And your next step was doing the medication and having a go. And then you realize, shit, I can actually do this. All right, let me do the next one. Now, a few people I know have done the Couch to 5K. And in fact, one of them was one of my daughters who is just absolutely non-sport based at all. And not only did she go from Couch to 5K, but she just couldn't believe she could run the 5Ks. And she's running 5 and even more now. So that's for me the whole thing about the show as well, is I want the viewers to listen to people like yourself and say, hey man, look, this is Mel. And the big difference with you, Mel, the big difference is your mindset and your attitude. And you just take on, people have to learn and accept and realize that coming last don't mean shit, right? Because the person that came last is the person who didn't enter the fucking race in the first place, right? Absolutely. So now I'm going to change slightly. You were like, oh yeah, I think I've got a sprint triathlon coming up soon, right? Now, you and I had a conversation about that because you kind of toyed with the idea of doing a bit more, but I'm going to let you tell the story, right? So where did it start with our conversation? Because when I first phoned you, there was still some doubt. So you tell me what I said and did and how you got where.
Yeah. So can I just touch a little bit on something else you said about mindset? Because I just think it's a really important thing. And I know this is a sports show, but I've noticed that I do something with people and they pick up on it. And I have messages and they go, thank you for doing that. And I'll use a friend called Lisa. And she messaged me about 2 weeks ago and went, I've just worn a bikini on the beach for the first time. Thank you so much. And I said, what did I do? And I remember the conversation me and her had. And she went, oh, I really want to wear a bikini on the beach, but I can't because I'm an older woman and blah, blah, blah. I went, no one's looking at you. What do you mean? I went, no one is looking at you. When you walk onto that beach, you are looking at you. No one else cares. And all you do is looking at yourself uncomfortably and getting hot. So why don't you wear the bloody bikini? And she messaged me and she got on the beach. She went, I looked around and no one was looking at me. So it's just about, I've always been quite a people pleaser. And I think removing the people pleasing, because you're a product of your environment. Now, the environment's not going to change externally. If you're sat in a room, the environment is the environment you give yourself. And I do think that if you just go, I'm going to do this, it's no different to not doing it. And that's my advice on mindset, I would say.
Absolutely brilliant. I love that, man. And thanks for that, because that's what the show about. Yes, it's about sport. In fact, I can see this show evolving to the Unlikely Champ eventually. I've started with triathlon because that's where I am, but it's absolutely what I want this to be about, Mel. And I said it on one of my previous shows. More you than me, but I've walked a different road, you know, of difficulties that I've overcome to achieve things that I thought I could never achieve, which has put me down this road. But I believe that people like you and I have a responsibility to those people out there. I mean, make no mistake, the guys that are world champions and winning the gold medals at Olympics, they have their struggles as well, you know. They've got really good support bases, but I'm that middle group that all think they're not good enough, you know. And that's why I'm excited about a show like this, you know, getting people like you on here, because people resonate with everyday people like you and me. You're nobody ordinary, make no mistake, but you're the ordinary everyday person, you know. And it absolutely means a lot. And you've inspired someone, and I've inspired some people, and that is why we are here. So absolutely love that. So let's get back to you and your triathloning. Right, so we were talking about a sprint tri. Take us from there.
Yeah, so when I first met you, we had the conversation about what are you doing? And I was like, well, I've got a friend called Sharon who has been a big inspiration and kept me on my toes and encouraged me in my journey. And I had done the half marathon. I do duathlons, I know I can do those. And then I had signed up for this sprint triathlon and I signed up for a marathon in Lanzarote. And she's like, why are you doing all this stuff? I went, well, I'm just seeing where I can go, what I can do. I know I can do it. I'm just going to force myself to do it. She went, you need to stop. You need to kind of rein yourself in and figure out what is it you actually want to train for. She went, you signed up for a triathlon. She went, can you swim? I went, I can do breaststroke, surely. And I realised actually I've not been in a pool for ages. So I can do the basic swim, but I hadn't ever done any kind of the front crawling stuff you need. And I was like, oh, yeah. And that's when I met you and I was telling you all these things I'd signed up for, because you get a medal for them and everyone likes a bit of gold, don't they? And yeah, so I suspect I came in because, like I said, I don't see myself as athletic. I feel that I have some knowledge, but I was just being chaotic. I needed a bit of rein it in. Like, what is it you want? And I do have goals. I want to be good. You know, I'm so much better than I was, but actually, I want to get to a point, and my goal is in like 2 years to be competitive.
I remember you saying that, oh, you know, I'm thinking about a 70.3. I know I'm not sure if I'll be able to do one, but, you know, maybe in a few years' time. I said, Mel, I think one of the first things I said to you is, hey, you need some structure, man. You can't just be picking races and signing up because you're going to hurt yourself some more, right? You've built such a good base. Let's get you on the right track and let's plot this out, right? So we were kind of short run to your sprint tri, which we're going to get through, and then we're going to look at something more structured over the next 12 months. But we're going to get you, I think we're looking at Weymouth next year, did we say, 70.3?
No, we were. Well, I mentioned Wimbleball Lake, and then I said, well, there's the Slate Man one, which is in North Wales, but I'll never be able to do that because it's too hilly, and that's the really one that I'd like to do. And you were like, well, why don't you just try do that one, do the one you want to do, not the one you think you should. And then I'm going against my own advice then, and because I'm going, oh, let's try the hard, safe option, and instead of going, actually, I can do this. But I hate hills, don't like them.
I actually remember that now. Thank you for reminding me. I speak to athletes. So absolutely right. And that right there is where I want to get people to start thinking, okay? It's not, well, I can't do that one because it's hilly. We need to change the mindset and the question. What we really need to ask ourselves is, shit, that's a hilly one. How am I going to do the hilly one? Right? So, hey, let's work on that one. Let's do that one. So I remember now we're going to go for that, right? And we're going to train for that one. Now, I remember you... on your social media, you, again, to me, very bravely put up a picture of you floundering in a muddy river somewhere with a swim buoy on and splashing along. And I thought, shit, this girl's doing a triathlon. She can't bloody swim. And I thought, and immediately there, I just got a massive smile on my face because that's my thing. I want to take you and I want to make you the best swimmer on the day, you know, and I know I can. And it's not because I'm any special coach. It's because I know what people have in them, which they don't think they have in them, you know. So that race we're talking about in Wales, the nice hilly one, because it's a beautiful, you just love the countryside and the beautiful aspect of it, right? That's a 70.3, was it?
Wow, that race, they do all of them. And last year I actually went and watched the sprint race. and walked around. So I know kind of the gradients in it, but it was really well organised. Everyone was having a good time. And it's in Snowdonia. It's near something called Dinorwick Quarry. And that's one of my most favourite places in Snowdonia. And it's just beautiful. So they do a full. I'm not there, you know. Um, but the 70.3 seems like a distance that I could train for, because I'm determined as hell, and I don't mind hurting, basically. So yeah, and it's just beautiful, Rob. You should go and visit Dinorwick Quarry and see that area. It's great.
We certainly have travelled around that part of the world, and it is a lovely one. And I know a lot of people shy away from Ironman Swansea because it's supposedly the second toughest Ironman race in the world, right? But again, I like to encourage people, not because I want to break them, but because I want them to challenge themselves, you know. And what you said earlier on, actually also nail on the head, to use that expression again, is like, you just want to be better and you want to compete, right? And I can tell you now, you're already competitive in the age groupers range, because I'm going to ask you, my mum said, you never ask a woman her age and her weight. So how old are you?
I'm 42.
42, right? So you don't look anywhere near 42 for a start. So you're ahead of the game. And that puts you in the 40 to 44 age group category, right? And I can show you some numbers. In fact, we've looked at some numbers already. So you're already in the mix there, right? And with a bit of direction and coaching and structure and doing things properly, we're going to get you there. But I wish it was something I'd coined, and it wasn't. And so I guess copyrights to whoever it is. But if we can just aim to be a better version of ourselves tomorrow than we were today, or this afternoon than we were this morning, or yesterday for that matter, you know, that's it, you know. There's a guy that I follow, a guy called Chris Nikic. Now, he's the first Down syndrome person ever to finish an Ironman race. Amazing story. And the influence he's had in the world of triathlon, and not just Downs people or people with disabilities, but everybody is like, shit, if he can do it, what's stopping me? And people start asking the question, and that in itself is the catalyst, you know, for a lot of people. And then we just need those coaches and mentors and people like you and I to say, come on, you can, let's just take the next step, you know. It's just putting that one foot in front of the other. And I love that. So Mel, we're looking at a new job for you, which number one is, and I think it's, honestly, I believe it's going to be a loss to the medical industry, because you just look like one of those people who's loving and caring, and you give a shit about others, and that's massive for that industry, regardless of what your qualifications are. So I certainly believe in all of that, and I think it's going to be a loss for those guys, 100%, right? But it's a massive gain for the guys that mustn't accidentally push the wrong button in the nuclear field, right? But it's going to free up your time to spend more time on yourself and better yourself. And I can tell you now, bettering yourself is going to better so many more people that are looking at you. You've already influenced people. You're proud of your social media, and people will watch that shit. And I'm going to encourage people to follow that. And we are going to change people's mindsets, you know. So I'm excited about that. And the big plus about your new job is it becomes more of a 9-to-5 thing, right? So it gives you more time to train, and we're going to get structured. And Mel, we're going to have you back here further down the line, and you're going to tell an amazing story. So we're going to keep an eye on you. And we're going to watch the space, right? Because unfortunately for you, you're stuck to me now, and you're going to be one of my influencers. I'm going to say, hey, look at Mel, because I'm just a skinny old South African boy, right? So people go, yeah, he looks kind of athletic. He can probably do this shit easy, right? I say, okay, whoa, look at the people that you maybe think shouldn't, or themselves didn't think. But your energy is so good, and I appreciate you very much bringing it to the show. It's awesome. So I'm going to give you another shout to say, you know, just people in your position or worse, you know, there are magnificent stories to go and look at out there. What's your advice? What's your number one takeout that people should look at if they're doubting themselves, even for the simplest park run?
Just don't doubt yourselves. Like when I was in my 20s and I decided to go back to education, I had 6 children, and everyone was like, don't get me wrong, I've been blessed with a brain, so I'm lucky enough to have a good brain. But everyone's like, you can't do that. Why can't I? You've got the kids to look after. You won't be able to do it. So I did it. And I was like, but you won't get into Bristol Uni because, you know, that's a posh person's uni, and you're not posh. They come from different kind of leagues. And I did that. Or you won't be able to. And actually, the voices, there was a lot more negative voices in the beginning, whereas now they're like, oh my God, it's amazing that you're doing that. It's just changing the mindset, and just knowing that just because someone will tell you that you can't do it doesn't mean you actually can. The only person that stops you from doing it is is you, like, and finding those pathways. And it isn't easy, you know. Some people might go, well, it must be easy, you've been able to do that. It hasn't been easy. You ask any healthcare professional kind of how hard working in healthcare is and things like that. It is hard, really, really hard. Long days, not fitting it in. So my advice would just be, like, you know yourself, and also just live for yourself, not what you think you should live for other people. Because why would someone change a career in their 40s? Well, this career isn't going anywhere. This one's better. Just move. It's, you know, there's plenty of reasons not to do stuff, and just ignore.
Just do it, eh? Just freaking do it, man. Mel, you've been awesome, honestly, and I really appreciate you, because I know it was a last minute, almost we didn't have you here today. So I appreciate you fluffing yourself up, slapping some makeup on, and getting in your box there and coming to talk to us, man. It's been awesome. And you're absolutely going to inspire some people. You really are. In fact, you have already, and you will. And from myself, we're going to chat again, because I'm coaching you. We're going to take you to you're going to take yourself to amazing places, right? You are one of those, if I can, definitely. I have absolutely no doubt. I don't know, it might sound a bit contradictory, but you are an extraordinary, ordinary person. And we need those extraordinary, ordinary people to tell all those other freaking ordinary people, get your shit together, get off your ass, stop listening to all the white noise, the grey noise, whatever noise it is, forget about what other people are thinking, and get on with it. And if you're stuck, talk to me or talk to Mel, and we will drag your ass across that line, right? Start small, keep putting one foot in front of the other. Mel, man, I wish you all the best of luck. I have no doubt you don't need it. And I look forward to chatting to you again soon. Thanks so much for taking out the time. Lots of love from us here at the Unlikely Triathlete, and we appreciate your time, man.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right. Take care, Mel. Speak soon, eh?